Yo, what's going on, YouTube family? I hope that everybody's doing well out there. Before I get into today's topic, let me start off by saying please excuse the bad quality video we got going on today. I got a lot going on in my life right now, and I forgot to charge my camera. So I was like, let's make do with what we got. My little girl is asleep. I got a few minutes. Let's just shoot from the laptop. So that's what we're doing today. So what I want to talk about in this video specifically is one of the most important skill sets that I think every designer should develop. It doesn't matter what stage of your career that you're in. If you're in college or university or a boot camp, if you are in your first year working as a designer, if you are experienced, I think that every designer needs to get better at this. And that skill is learning to let go of your ego. I know that it sounds hippy dippy. I know that it sounds trippy. I know that it sounds abstract. And you might be like, give me a game plan, Jeremy. What do you mean? But just stick with me here, because I'm gonna go on a few tangents, and this is a topic that I think is very deep. It's not something that I could just cover in one video and it's just like, yo, like we're good, but hopefully it just sparks some conversation internally for you and with those around you. So I think that the role of ego is something that can elevate you in many aspects of your life, right? If you have self-confidence, if you have a point of view, I think that ego is great, right? Some of the most successful people in the world are full of themselves, right? But they have a lot of confidence, and that is a great thing because confidence is something that people feed off, something that, it gives people trust into what you're saying. But oftentimes when you work as a designer, I see that your ego can get in the way of your personal growth. It can get in the way of your family life, the way that you work with colleagues. It could develop a certain culture within an organization, right, that can affect many other people around you as a leader, right? So it runs deep. And I'm not going to talk about all of those different aspects, but I do want to talk about how it affects your personal life and how it can play into internal conflicts for yourself and conflicts with other people that you work with. Right? I want to focus on those two things, and hopefully it just kind of like gets you engaged and gets you interested in understanding yourself a little bit more and how it affects your own design career journey. So for myself, I think that my ego has gotten in the way plenty of times, and one of those times recently is that over the past couple of years I have said to myself, yo, it would be really cool if I could become a design executive at some point. But what stopped me from even understanding how to get there is my ego. I would oftentimes tell myself, nah, I could never do that. I grew up in South LA. I ain't never seen nothing like that. It's not a lot of black executives out there. I don't have the skills. I don't know the skills. I don't know nobody, right? All these different things, all these different doubts, all these different fears were basically my ego. Until recently, I hired an executive coach that I work with, and once a week, I don't devote as much time as I want, but once a week, I meet with him and a mastermind group of people who are executives and managers already, and they share information with me on the challenges that they face. And we kind of like work together as to how to go about those challenges, right? And it makes me see that there are certain skills that I can develop. It makes me see that all I needed was a little bit of exposure and guidance, right? But my ego would oftentimes tell me, nah, you can't do that. You're black. You're young. You don't have an MBA. You don't have the skills. You don't have the knowledge. You don't have the degree, right? My ego would get in the way. And I know oftentimes earlier in your career, or even if you're somebody who's very experienced, your ego can get in the way, right? So it could affect you on a personal level. How and that creates internal conflicts within yourself, right? You're like, nah, I want to get there, but I don't know how. And there's this conflict that happens internally, right? So it affects you at that level. Now, how does it affect when you work with people? So oftentimes what I see with designers, especially when you're in an organization that has a lot of conflict, a lot of politics, is that you as a designer are looking at certain challenges in opposition of the people that you work with. You know, the product managers that you work with, the executives, the engineers. You're looking at the same challenge from opposing views. You're here as a designer and everybody else is here. When in reality, you guys should be looking at the challenge, you know, from the same direction. So this is the challenge, and this should be you and everybody else, right? You guys should be standing from the same direction, from the same viewpoint, looking at the challenge head on, right? But what I see is that the designer is here and everybody else is here, and you are thinking to yourself, in terms of the design perspective, you know, when nobody gives a crap about the design perspective, right? Ain't nobody, these people don't know about pixels and Figma and all these different shortcuts that you know about. They're thinking from their own perspectives, right? So when you are able to learn to look at things from other people's viewpoints, it could make your job so much easier. It makes your life so much easier, right? And whenever somebody asks me, yo, Jeremy, what's the most important skill set I should learn? This is it, man. Understanding how to look at things from other people's viewpoints. Understand that everybody has different desires. Everybody has different motivations and dreams where they want to go in their careers. And, you know, there's a guy named Zig Ziglar who I used to follow back in the day. I read a lot of his books, and he was a sales guy, right? And he always said that if you can help people get what they want, they will help you get what you want, right? And when you are a designer forming a vision that is very abstract, you have to learn to influence people and get them on your side when it comes to the vision that you're trying to create, right? But if you are trying to influence them by thinking that you are the smartest person in the room when it comes to design, that leads to conflict. Just think about it. If you're in a relationship with somebody, whether you got a wife, a husband, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, whatever it is, what happens when you think that you're smarter than them? What happens when you think that you're the expert on something? You guys get into an argument, right? Oh, you think you know everything, right? Oh, you Mr. Smarty Pants, right? That's what happens. There becomes this dialogue of confrontation rather than you guys working together as a team, right? Even when you guys should be on the same team, you're a couple, right? And it's the same thing that happens when you work in an organization as a designer. Oftentimes we think that we're the smartest person in the room when it comes to design, right? And the other people think that they could do our jobs as well, but we have to understand that when somebody challenges us, that we need to dig a little deeper. Be curious, right? Ask them why they think the way that they do. Ask them what makes them believe certain things that they do, right? And when you understand their personal motivations and their way of looking at the world, it could just open up opportunities that informs the vision that you have to make it much greater than you originally thought, right? And if you understand this skill set, man, like, it's something that could just pave a path for you in so many different ways. And it could, you know, this is what makes promotions. This is what gives you more money. This is what gives you more joy, right? When you understand that skill set, it could unlock so many different things. I'm not even lying. And you guys might think that I'm tripping out. You might think that I'm a hippie, right? But what I'm learning from the leaders who I talk to is that this is one of the number one challenges that they have, which is, understanding how to influence different sides of organizations. There's always conflict, right? There's always personal things that are going on. There's politics, right? But politics really stems from people having different viewpoints, wanting different things, right? And how you mitigate that is by learning to see things from different people's perspectives and learning to hear them, listen to them, see them, right? Not knowing more than them. That gets you nowhere, right? So the more you practice that, the better you will be as a designer. Now, I know you might be asking, yo, Jeremy, how do I practice that? Here's a tip. Here's a tip. You can sit down with your spouse or whoever you're close to. It could be a spouse, it could be a sibling, it could be your parents, it could be a best friend, whoever. And show them one of your designs. Show them a high fidelity design of something. It could be a personal project that you're working on. Show them that design. And then choose somebody else and show them a low fidelity design of a sketch, right, that you wireframed out. I want you to do, this is two different exercises, right? Show somebody close to you a high fidelity design and show somebody else a low fidelity design, and ask them what they think about each when it comes to a certain challenge that you're trying to solve. If you're trying to solve for, if this home page makes sense, it could be that, right? Show them one of your designs and ask them to give you some recommendations or feedback, and understand how you feel emotionally in those moments when they say, yo, I don't like the color of this button, I don't like this image, I think that this could be a little better. Just pay attention to how you react and how you respond, and then afterwards, after you have that conversation with them, take note of your feelings in each moment. And better yet, you could record this conversation, right? Record the conversations that you have with them and pay attention to how you feel, how you respond, and how you think that you got critiqued, and if that critique went well or not. And do that over and over with maybe like 5 different people. And I think that even before you become a professional designer, understanding yourself, understanding and becoming self-aware of how certain things make you feel, and understanding the reasons that you feel that way, can help you kind of let go of that ego, right? And help you see things from the vantage point of somebody else. But in those moments, whenever you feel like, yo, I don't understand why they feel this way, that really hurts, they said that my design looks like shit, be more curious. Ask them why they feel that way. Ask them what they've seen before, because oftentimes people have different reference points from different applications, different experiences, right? And ask them what those things are that make them feel, their personal emotions. So yeah, guys, I hope that this was a topic that really resonated with folks. Number one, I feel like your ego can affect your career path and your own personal growth, because your mind kind of gets in the way, right? You might doubt yourself. You might say that you can't do certain things, and know that that's just your own ego playing into your own self-doubts and your own fears. But the reality is that if you put a little elbow grease in there, you could actually do it, right? And the second way that ego kind of plays into how you show up with your colleagues is that you guys see things from different viewpoints, and the goal should be to understand how to see things from the same direction, right? And I'll leave you guys with this, but I see that as a father, if my ego gets in the way, and I see that I can only go so far and I aim low, then my children will naturally do the same things, And that's now how that's not how I personally want to raise my kids. You know, I hear from a lot of my colleagues who are entrepreneurs. They saw their parents become entrepreneurs when they were younger, and they saw the grit and the resilience that it took to be an entrepreneur. It's not something that is natural for everybody. It's not for everybody, right? But when you see it, when you see that it's possible, and you understand what it takes, then you think to yourself, "Oh, I can actually do that," right? And if your ego is something that's getting in the way of your dreams, it's something that you just got to put to the side, right? It's something that you have to learn to put to the side. But this is something that takes daily practice. It's not something that, just comes overnight, because we naturally all have egos. I'm not saying that you need to completely get rid of it, because your confidence is important, your point of view is important, but oftentimes it works against us. That's all I'm trying to say. So yeah, guys, if this video helped in any way, you already know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. And if there are any ways that you feel like ego has affected you, please comment below and let me hear your thoughts, because I love hearing different people's perspectives. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.